And so apparently CoffeeZilla has been one of the only other people that's been making very consistent videos about this. And we're going to take a look at it. Here we go. What will be the end? What will be the end of this? Nobody goes to jail. No consequences. A few people get embarrassed and resign. And then business as usual. And then in 5 years from now, people will think that this is a conspiracy theory again.
I am increasingly disgusted by the way this is all a big joke to liars like Howard Lutnick, who deceived the American public about the status of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
That guy was there. I wasn't going.
Now he testifies under oath that he actually went to the island of the creep and brought his kids.
We had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour. And we left with all of my children.
Nevertheless, every time Epstein is brought up, this guy can't stop chuckling. Here's Lutnick laughing again when Trump is addressing a question about Epstein.
I don't think this is fair. This guy laughs at everything Trump says. Trump could say banana and he'd be laughing his ass off. I don't think this is because of Epstein. I think it's just because that's what he does.
To talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
I don't know. I could ask you that question.
He thinks it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. And maybe
to be
it's
fair, Trump didn't even say that. Okay, that's
because they really think we are buying it. Maybe it's because they think, hey, we're just going to get away with this. We can just keep the lies are so brazen.
Well, they do get away with it. How's Logan Paul's Crypto Zoo doing?
So audacious, so in your face that it is actually funny to them. And you know what? I have to agree that the way the FBI and DOJ have been treating this is a joke. Because we just talked to a congressman who passed the Epstein Transparency Act. As part of it, the DOJ was supposed to release all the Epstein files with no redactions except for survivors.
Definitely.
That didn't happen. Several of the survivors' names were left unredacted, and several of the perpetrators' names were left redacted.
This is supposed to be like, it's like opposite day, right?
That was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. The title of this one is Child Trafficking. Co-conspirators. Fully redacted.
But in response to criticism that they had over-redacted, they said, hey, we're so transparent, we're going to let you guys come and see the unredacted files to the congressman. The problem is, guess what happened when those congressmen showed up? The unredacted files, many of them
were still redacted.
Redacted underneath the redaction. There were 2 layers of redactions. By the time the DOJ got them, they were already redacted.
Oh my
so what they're
God.
looking at is an redacted copy of the Epstein files. This is at the same time that the FBI has a government project to build a next generation redaction tool where they claim they need multi-layer redaction management. And you can see it here where representative talks about getting to see the, quote, unredacted files.
Yes.
He says the search function didn't actually work. Half the stuff I was looking for was still redacted. We couldn't write on files we brought in. We shared 4 computers for 435 members of Congress. So what?
Okay, to be fair, I could see this as just the government being incompetent. This seems like a government solution. Yeah, definitely.
What is this actually? This is transparency theater. This is not real transparency. It is actually a joke. Here's another joke.
They don't give a shit about it at all.
FBI just concluded again that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't running a ring for powerful men. But when the public was asked about this just the other day, 94% believe that he was. So obviously there's a huge gap between what the FBI says they believe and what the public, who has now at this point seen most of the same files, say they believe. If anything, the FBI by definition would have access to more evidence. And yet with the files that we already do have, 94% of the public say, yeah, Epstein obviously was trafficking. But the FBI, of course, isn't investigating new parties. They say there's no evidence for it.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
in the files.
In the case file.
He's adding in that we have in the case file. These are two qualifying statements that reduce the scope of the accuracy of what his statement is. And he's doing that in order to justify not naming anybody else.
Okay, even if you believe what he says after the revelation that the FBI themselves thought there were 4 co-conspirators in the previous draft indictment. They later said they thought they had 10
even the FBI thought there were co-conspirators.
Co-conspirators. Now you're supposed to believe no women were trafficked to any of these people.
Wow.
Epstein was working alone.
It's a mystery.
It might be surprising to learn then that the DOJ and FBI under Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, who ran on the idea of releasing these files, have not talked to people who say they were victimized by Jeffrey Epstein. This was brought out
insane.
2 different times. I want to watch both of them with you because it's astonishing to hear someone say, we have no credible evidence on other perpetrators, only to learn
that they didn't talk to the victims.
Never talked to the women who were allegedly trafficked.
You guys need to see, like, this is it's actually crazy how bad faith these people are. It's unreal. The files are already white before they got in office. Oh, I think the files have been censored like 3 or 4 times.
14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite all
investigative leads. Is the answer yes or no to whether or not you met with these women who were abused and
any insinuation by you or any people on your side,
because the answer's no.
That I am not manhunting child traffickers. Just look at the stats. And you talk about cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
you talk about cover-ups.
I'm going to stop it there. It just devolved. He refuses to answer the question of...
She got him. The thing is that, like, it is so embarrassing to see this happen.
Did you actually meet with these women? Luckily for us, some of those same people later showed up at another hearing, this time in a hearing with Pam Bondi.
Oh, boy.
Survivors in the room. If you are willing, please stand.
Surprised there's so few of them.
And if you are willing... please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
Oh, wow.
Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
Yeah, it's honestly shocking to see. There's these people who are claiming to be victims of Epstein. The DOJ and FBI have consistently said, look, we want to take all available evidence. We just need the evidence.
And we have continuously and publicly asked for the public to come forward with more information. If there is, we'll look at it.
And then it's
wait. So they're asking the public to come forward with information, but they also don't want to interview people that were victims? Like, guys, this is seeming a little bit weird.
Well, did you interview these people who say they have evidence? Well, no, actually, we didn't. This comes up again.
Now, would the survivors and victims who are here please stand up one more time? Just by show of hands, how many of you or your loved ones actually have met with the Department of Justice and provided testimony and evidence? None.
Wow.
And of those of you who have not met, which is everyone, how many of you have reached out either individually or through a lawyer or representative to offer to provide testimony and evidence?
Yep, no surprise.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what can you even say to that? This is a DOJ. This is an FBI that claims to be interested in getting to the bottom of the Epstein files, except when actually asked, they cover up, they redact, and they don't ask for victim testimony or evidence. I mean,
this is what they do, right? Is because it is bad by design. They're doing it wrong on purpose, and they're doing it wrong in order to complicate things. That's what I think's happening.
How can you possibly say you've reached a conclusion as to an investigation when you literally haven't talked to the people who would be a victim of said investigation? Furthermore, how can Kash Patel say under oath, without perjuring himself, that there was no credible evidence that Epstein trafficked to anyone else, when internal emails to 710 directors call, it says approximately 4 to 5 victims accused other adult men of abusing them. There was not enough evidence to federally charge these individuals, so the cases were referred to local law enforcement. Again, there's a huge difference between there's no credible evidence.
There is no credible information. None.
And we couldn't pull charges. I mean, that's a totally different thing. And in that case, isn't the whole point to investigate that? Isn't the whole point to call more of the people saying they have evidence? Isn't that your job? How can the FBI, the DOJ, conclude definitively that Epstein wasn't trafficking to anyone when Jess Staley, during a UK court hearing in 2025, admitted to having with a member of Epstein's staff? He, of course, described it as consensual. But internally within the Epstein files, there's accusations against Jess Staley. One of the files alleges that
this is actually quite common, and I think that some people are getting confused by this because there's some instances where you have people who are actually victims, but they were also co-conspirators. So they were groomed by Epstein, and then once they got old enough, they became the groomers. So whenever you look at it, and you're hearing that like it's one or the other, sometimes it's not one or the other, it's both.
Victim was left with body marks after an interaction with the former Barclays boss. The disgusting Mr. Staley, if anyone ever calls me Tinkerbell again, I will lose my mind. Which I know sounds weird that Jess Staley would allegedly refer to a girl as some type of like Disney character or cartoon
Tinkerbell's pretty small, huh?
But this is consistent with email exchanges. Jess Staley says, that was fun to Jeffrey Epstein. Say hi to Snow White. What character would you like next? Epstein later asks. To which Staley replied, Beauty and the Beast. Epstein responded, well, one side is available.
It's Bella, right? Right? It's her, isn't it? Like I hope so. No, the other. Oh no! Oh no!
I'm not saying these emails would be enough to charge Jess Staley, but to investigate, almost certainly. It's definitely unconscionable to say there's zero evidence of Epstein trafficking to anyone.
There is no credible information. None.
How can that possibly be true?
There's no credible information. That's not even like, again, that's not a, enough of a preponderance of evidence to investigate, but none? Zero? I mean, what the fuck are we talking about? Why would you even say that?
When some of your files say 4 or 5 victims accused other men. So it's just totally insane to me the way we are all treating this, where the people in power whose job it is to hold these people accountable, they want to laugh about it, they want to joke, they want you to smile about the whole thing. This actually came to a head when one reporter asked about the survivors.
But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about.
Gotten
You are
justice.
the worst reporter. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile
Well,
on
I'm
your
asking
face.
you about survivors of Jeffrey Epstein,
You know why
Mr.
you're not
President.
smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth.
It's honestly baffling. I mean, how are we supposed to act during the Epstein files when we hear about these horrific stories? Are we all supposed to be like Howard Lutnick, just guffawing?
To be fair, Scott Bassett was also smiling about it too. Yeah, they thought this shit was hilarious.
Laughing it up? How are we supposed to treat
God.
this travesty of justice? And again, I want to restate for the millionth time, this is not political, no matter how much the DOJ and FBI try to argue that it is. The person we're about to watch questioning Pam Bondi is a Republican. But anytime you say anything negative about the Epstein file handling, which was run on by this administration, they either bounce to, well, you must hate Trump, or the Democrats didn't do it last time, so we shouldn't be expected to do anything either. And you're about to see more of that.
Within 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's obviously they're both wrong. I don't even see how this is a debate. It shouldn't even be a debate what's going on. You've had the files for 10 years. Why do you think they hadn't already investigated and done shit from back then? What do you mean, why do I think that? It's because people that were powerful controlled the decision of doing that, and they decided not to do it. Obviously, that's the reason why. Like, why would you even ask that? It's very clear that's the reason for why it didn't happen. Duh.
Minutes.
Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
That's right. That's right.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
It's multiple redactions.
700, and we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome.
Literally, we
What
caught
a
you guys
retard.
redacting a co-conspirator's name. I mean, there's a lot more than that they redacted, but it's like, for them to say, oh, what? It was just one.
I don't like that. By the way, I don't like the questioning format that they do in Congress where you can run out the clock. I don't like that. It's structured around bad faith behavior.
Name, we put it up when you said so. When you caught us on our 4 computers we allowed you to use with redactions on top of redactions. And Pam Bondi's performance here was so bad that at one point she's being asked about, are you bringing any more indictments?
She brings up the stock market.
Are you investigating anyone?
Yeah.
And she jumps back to some pretty bizarre talking points.
How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want
I say it again. Back in the day, whenever we did rated battlegrounds like RBGs, there was a rule that my RBG leader had, and it was that we would always attack the healer that was a girl first, regardless of what class that they were playing or regardless of their gear, because the assumption was that women would crack under the pressure. I got Grand Marshal that season. That's the highest rank. It's crazy how that happens.
Answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the way I
ridiculous.
asked it.
And none of them,
Crazy. Really
none
is.
of them
What are the odds of that?
asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about
Would you ban
Jeffrey
Bondi? I would.
Epstein.
You'd get rid of her.
How
You'd get rid
ironic
of
is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000.
This is a legendary crash out, by the way. This in any real normal world, this would be a career-ending crash out that by the end of the day she was fired.
And the
it should be.
NASDAQ smashing
Absolutely
records.
should be.
Americans' 401ks.
She's right, though. She's not right. Like, the stock market has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. It doesn't. Like, you interviewing and dealing with the survivors, redacting things that shouldn't be redacted on the Epstein files, and the stock market, if this is a Venn diagram, they're 2 separate circles. They don't have anything to do with each other. Jerry
Retirement
Epstein.
savings
That's right.
are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked.
That's the question.
Are you kidding?
No, I do want to know, what does
I'm
the Dow
curious.
have to do with Jeffrey Epstein victims?
Yeah.
I truly don't understand
Are
that.
you serious?
So yeah, this whole thing was a complete
Oh my God. Is this like a bore? Oh my God.
disaster of a meltdown.
Yeah, it is.
They're treating it as an absolute joke, and they criticize you if you don't smile like Howard Lutnick when he's caught lying about the Epstein files. And while I can't personally muster that kind of energy, I do want to talk about some more of the revelations in the Epstein file. Like, the most noteworthy is that Trump called the Palm Beach Police Department immediately after Epstein was arrested, according to a police chief that was interviewed in 2019. He says back when he arrested Epstein the first time, Trump called him and said, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this." Saying
fucking based. Absolutely fucking based.
About Maxwell, she's evil, and to focus on her, according to the police chief,
as I said, nobody liked that bitch.
Trump was one of the first people to call. Julie K. Brown said that when Trump called the chief, it was after the Epstein story became public, when Epstein was arrested. This actually goes a long way to explain Speaker Mike Johnson's previous comments that Trump blew the whistle to the FBI to stop Epstein.
I think that makes sense.
He's an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
It's obvious that he probably just misunderstood that it was an FBI interview of a police chief, and that at the time it was the Palm Beach Police Department handling that case. And I think that even for the people who say, okay, that's just because they had a falling out over real estate or anything like that, I think it undoubtedly is a good look for Donald Trump, and clearly something.
It is. It obviously makes him look good for him to call out and say, yeah, it's good that you're getting rid of this guy, and also look at the other person that's involved because they're bad too. Like, it obviously makes him look good.
Something they're going to hang on to as more of these files get released. We also have something that kind of goes the other way. Remember the Wall Street Journal birthday book story, which Trump said is absolutely false?
You try to look good with shit,
We have a B-Day book update sent in 2002 when the book was supposedly drafted. And we see LM for blank, George Mitchell, Donald Trump, Henry Jarecki, and Leon Black, which definitely undermines his case, defamation case, against the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, boy.
I think another interesting component of this was realizing that Jeffrey Epstein was secretly buying motion-detected hidden cameras that record, and one of the people who said they were installing them said they were installing them into Kleenex boxes. There's a
Oh, my God. I didn't even see this. This is new to me.
Another email from Jeffrey Epstein where he claims to need a button camera for the Sultan. Once again, highlighting that this case about Jeffrey Epstein is also a bizarre case of power. Who did this guy work for? He talks about going to an SCIF, which might be an acronym for a sensitive compartmented information facility. Later, he says that Ehud Barak is with me. You would have loved my tech meeting in the SCIF. This is an intelligence term, which is usually something you need the ability to
I never even heard that before.
Classified information for. Although it's not clear because later Epstein says that his house is similar to an SCIF.
So he had all the blackmail in his house. Is that what he's saying?
Connection to the government is not exactly bulletproof. I don't want to give the false impression that it was. But it does raise a bunch of questions. Like Bradley Edwards, one of the victim's lawyers, actually speaks about this in his book. He said that this bodyguard had been sent by Epstein to Virginia to CIA headquarters.
What? A bodyguard? What the fuck? SCIFs are in all parts of the government? Yeah, I've just never even heard of this before.
Nervously telling me the story, the bodyguard said, I don't know why I was there, but he told me they would take care of me. I attended a class for a week.
Spell it out.
At the
Just
beginning
call it
of the
Skip.
class, everyone had to introduce
Secure
themselves.
conversations.
There were 45 people. 44 were in the CIA or some other government unit with top secret clearance. I was the only private citizen.
Wow.
So clearly there's some indication, some testimony to the fact that Epstein may have had access to either classified briefings or he had some pool with the CIA. Now, we might know about this because there was actually a FOIA to the CIA about Jeffrey Epstein. Ironically, it was from Jeffrey Epstein. This is Jason Leopold saying the Epstein filed FOIA requests with
you could do
which
that?
he sought documents that would show that he had a, quote, open affiliation with the CIA between 1999 and 2011.
Oh,
and
my
NSA
God.
for documents relating or referring to himself. Epstein did not receive any records. Instead, he got GLOMARS.
What's
that just
that?
refers to a term that basically they neither confirmed or denied it because they said that doing so would reveal, quote, a classified connection to the CIA, and thus the CIA cannot confirm or deny the existence of records responsive to your request. Therefore, you may consider this portion a denial of your request pursuant to FOIA exemption. More specifically, they say, we searched the CIA originated responsive records that might reflect an open or otherwise acknowledged agency.
Well, I think this is really what shows everything, right? It's whenever the Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna said that we're going to name the people if you don't name the people, and then they started naming the people. I think what that tells me is that there's a lot of other information that they do have access to, because if that can happen one time, I bet it's happened 50 other times too. It's just that it hasn't come to a head in a public way that people are aware of, right? It's like, again, what I said before about how it's like the tip of the iceberg, which names that Sultan guy from, I think, the UAE, or it could have been Qatar. I forgot which country, but it was one of those countries. And then also that Wexner guy who was apparently like the guy that made Victoria's Secret. I'm pretty sure those are the two.
Affiliation. So these are also the important questions we need answers to, but it's hard to get them when everything is treated as a joke, when nobody takes this seriously. So
it's crazy how nobody cares about this for the, like, it's been shocking to me to see the Epstein files just completely cynically and maliciously used in order to just simply be a weapon to attack the other side of the politics. That's been it. There's no actual reasoning to it or anything else. It's just them going out there and basically just using it to attack somebody else.
All in
Not
all,
secret
this is
anymore.
a very
Yeah, it's
frustrating
weaponized.
story to cover, given how
they don't
the
even
people
care about
handling the whole story are engaging with it. They're laughing. They're
Democrats
joking,
didn't care for 4
they're not
years. No, they
responding,
didn't.
They're telling us to smile. And in general, they just want us to get over it. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen
Billions
either.
of
I don't.
pages
Give
of
me 1 second. I'll pause this. You kind of
documents
predicted this.
I am increasing.
I did in a way, but like it wasn't really anything smart. It's CoffeeZilla video. Make sure to give it a like. I think his first Epstein video got like 6 or 7 million views. It's fucking insane. This guy's a legend. I've been watching him now for like 3 or 4 years. And yeah, make sure to give it a like too. And very, very, very good video. I think that honestly, this is the worst part about it. And I hate to say this, but I think it's true. I think that nothing is going to change. Really, I don't think that there's going to be any consequences. There's not going to be any sort of like, oh, wow, somebody's getting arrested or people are going to jail. I think that you're going to have some temporary embarrassment from a handful of people. And otherwise, besides that, everything else is going to be right back to business as usual. I think that's it. Now, I'm sad to say that, but I think it's true. And are you going to scroll for more of the subreddit today? Yeah, I'll look at a few more things on the subreddit. Why not? But either way, they don't think you're stupid. They think there's nothing you can do. That's right. That is exactly it. Nobody can do anything about this. And so they just go out and let it happen. Yep, there it is. And I feel like in general, it's just going to continue getting more and more open and brazen. I think they're used to it now, right? Because like, I mean, if you can get away with like having a child like sex cult on an island and, you know, like eating people and shit like this, if you can get away with that, then I feel like you can get away with anything. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I feel like it's true.